Good, everybody. This is Cam Green. This is Cam's Green Light. Say no more. Say less. The brand. And I got my bro Ro and Zoe co-host with me, and they came here to kick it with us. We have a very interesting topic today. It was something that was brought to our attention, or brought to the Say No More team's attention, with a video that went viral of a father and a stepmother. Um, I guess trying to exemplify a form of discipline in a garage setting towards this teenage girl. I guess what did she do? What did she do? She ran away from home. I think.
Something about stealing a phone. Something
Yeah, cell
about
phone.
something about calling the stepmother out of her name.
Yeah. Okay. So all of these things transpired. So what we saw in the video was uh one the girl. I mean, with the guy, the daddy was holding the daughter down like he was wrestling
Yeah,
her.
came
You
down.
on some UFC type like. This a two easily a 300-pound man probably on top of this
Restraining his daughter.
120. This girl couldn't be over 120. He on her, holding her down like what you gonna do now in these streets? And then on top of that, like the stepmother, she was trying to kick off.
She was
whatever.
gassing him. She was
Yeah.
gassing him.
You know what I'm saying? She was talking, calling the girl out her name, calling her a B word, and like, don't you touch you, don't put your hands on me. The girl was just trying to get out of the thing, and so she started kicking, and I guess she accidentally kicked her stepmother. And the stepmother felt as if she was, trying to hit her. So, man, first and foremost,
She did. She did.
well, let's. She did hit him. Okay, I guess. So, with that being said, let's get into all of that. What's y'all take, Zoe and Ro?
I mean, bro, what you were just talking about, like, I want to kick off with the whole like publicizing the abuse, man.
Yep.
Like, nowadays on social media, bro, like it's such a huge part of our lives. Like, you know what I'm saying? We publicize our personal things on our social media accounts. Businesses use social media to they stuff, keep it going. You got people, putting weddings on social media. Like, it's so. I think the thing with that, bro, is like if you had to discipline your child, all right, I understand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do that behind closed doors. But once you start to publicize it on social media where everybody gets to view it, it's like, are you doing this because you're disciplining your child? Or are you doing it because you're trying to get some views? You know what I'm saying?
You're
Like,
easily setting yourself up to be judged regardless.
man, bro, what?
You setting yourself up. Rather it was to that extent or not, somebody's gonna have something to say about how you discipline your child regardless. Now that we all seen it in this viral, now everybody could talk about it and discuss it, and now them laws and the CPS might
Catching
be in your
case,
life,
bro.
so
And that's the thing I said. I was like, you know what? They probably gonna get charged. CPS.
You already know.
And when it was sent to the chat, bro, I was like, first and foremost, there's another way, but this ain't it. For sure, this wasn't it. So,
Bro, dude, at the end of the video, he was like, I hope somebody's screen recording this, because they was on Facebook Live.
wow.
Like,
wow.
I don't know if he was looking for that exposure, but again, bro, it's just like there's certain stuff that I just really don't feel like you should be publicizing, bro. Like, again, social media is for the public eye, the public view. What you put out there is what you want people to see. Certain stuff you just kind of have to have this moral compass. It's just like this I should not be putting on social media.
That most definitely goes above and beyond the whole what happens in this house stays in this house. Like, people out here broadcasting themselves, like they putting themselves out there.
They money, they personal belongings.
But what my thing is, what do you gain from one hitting your daughter, raising your voice at her?
Are we talking about from the standpoint of the father or the
from
daughter?
the entire situation.
Because-
like, what do you gain from wanting to show the world I'm abusing
Trauma.
the child?
Clout.
Like this.
That's what they
Trauma.
like they was looking for clout.
What do you honestly get from publicly humiliating your daughter, someone that you brought into this world because of their behavior?
Okay. Honestly, bro, I think it's how you want people to view you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talked about stigmas last time. Like, sometimes as parents of color, you know what I'm saying? I can even speak on my behalf too. We want to have this image where it's just like, hey, like, I'm the disciplinarian here, and whatever I say is gonna go. You know what I'm saying? So like, even though we understand that as men, it's just like now social media is just like a whole another scope. It's like you want everybody that you don't even know to view you a certain way. I feel like that might have had something to do with it. You know what I'm saying? You got family, friends, and people you don't even know watching your moves, bro. So I feel like that could have been a big reason on him publicizing that, like, I want everybody to know, like, you got me effed up. Like, I'm finna show you what you got to do. Your child act up. When in reality, everybody not gonna do that, bro. And everybody for sure not gonna publicize it.
I feel like instead of him being a father at that moment, he was trying to pick sides. I feel like he was going out his way. I feel like he was going out his way to try to prove a point, to show his wife or whoever, the girlfriend or whatnot, hey, I got your back. Ain't nobody gonna disrespect you.
But okay, all right.
Okay.
Well, let's get into it then. Let's talk about that aspect. Because I really want to understand the whole aspect of showing out in front of your significant other or a step parent. Like, what is y'all take on that? Because I feel like it's so subjective and in so many ways that you can look at this. And some people say, anybody of a stepchild or a girlfriend or something like that can never touch my child that we did not bring in the world together. But that is a subjective thing. And you can disagree all you want to, but it's very subjective because what if that stepmother or stepfather was the one who brought you in, like literally not brought you into this world, but raised you as their own, treated you no differently? Then that's kind of perceived a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? So what do y'all think?
I mean, like, when it comes down, like, you talking about step parent, like, I think there has to be ground rules set. Obviously, every household gonna look different, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I experienced that, like, but it's just like we don't know what their relationship is like. You know what I'm saying? She might have been the one that, you know what I'm saying, raised her. We don't know that. But to go back what you were saying, bro, you can be so right that you're wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, being right is one thing, but when you're trying to prove how right you are, you become wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, at that point, you're just trying to beat it over the head, and it's just like, I need you to understand this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we spoke on earlier, like, she was like, covering her face, bro. And then, the stepmom, like, she's like, I'll get your hands out your face. She's piggybacking off of what the dad is saying. So we only know what we see. We don't know the backstory. We don't know how they act towards her. We don't know how she act towards them. But with her being a step parent, like, you're talking about it being a discipline.
We can all agree that it was very excessive. Like,
it was
for
unnecessary.
Sure. It was unnecessary.
No matter what her actions were, there's many ways to teach that lesson. Even if you was to put her in that situation, like not saying like, hey, you think this is what you want to do? Take her to that neck of the woods. Of course, keep your eyes and everything on her, but show her this is not the lifestyle that you want. If that's what he's trying to put out there. But the thing is, I felt like he was trying to teach out of fear instead of out of love and understanding. Facts. Like, hey, facts. Like, I feel like he refused to see the wrong that he's done as a parent for her to even be acting out the way that she is.
And we don't even know how, you know what I'm saying, he was disciplined.
Exactly.
That might have been all he knew.
We just going off the video. We don't know her actions. We don't know, we don't truthfully know if he's right or wrong, but we all agree that it was very excessive. It didn't have to be that aggressive at all. Like, not to get the point, not to sling the girl up on the ground and they done rip her little extension ponytail out. Is that what that was?
Bro, I didn't see
that. No,
I didn't watch the full video.
It was hard. Yeah, it was hard for me, bro. I was skipping through it, but what I did see, like, you kind of brought this up earlier, bro. Before we even did this, you was like, it might have been like a traumatic experience that he went through as a kid, leading up. That might be the only way he knows how to express his discipline.
And now he's creating one for her. Because she'll never be able to live this down. This went viral, bro.
Let's look at it this way. Like, bro, think of the mental abuse or think about the mental state that she's going to be in after this, bro. Like you said.
That's how I'm looking at it. Because
let's look at it. Like,
I worked with kids at RTC, and I know it's a lot of traumatic events or things that happened in the past that even got them there. Just CPS being in their life in general is traumatic for them. It could be a trigger for them. I'm working with kids who have to take several doses of medicine a day, 3 times a day as a necessity just to be able to remain sane, So it's like, ain't no telling, like, you being overbearing and you're being physical with her. It ain't no telling what type of, he's setting up something bad for the future man or whoever gonna try to take up under their wing. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
like,
bro.
You creating something that's, like,
that's
you could
dangerous.
Exactly. Yeah. That's dangerous.
And like, that's a whole man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Your own father at that.
He looked like a big dude, bro. So I'm sure, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the beginning, he flicked her. Like, I heard that through the camera. You know what I'm saying? As a guy, we just naturally strong, but that's a big dude on, you know what I'm saying? I don't care how old she was, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's a girl. So again, we don't know the backstory, bro. But yes, it was very excessive. You talk about the mental abuse.
And to answer that question, whenever it comes to stepmother, significant other, or whatnot, as far as being able to discipline a child, I feel like that goes in the household. It's real subjective because maybe the mom and the stepmom might have an understanding. They might be able to have that conversation and be like, hey, you stand with my daughter. It's certain things that I don't mind you doing, but it's certain things I'm not gonna tolerate at all. Yeah. So I feel like that. I mean, that's my response. Like,
so he brought up a good point. So obviously there's a thin line between abuse and discipline. So like, where do you draw the line? Like, obviously he put that on social media. I feel like that was a line crossed. Again, that's subjective in my opinion, but where do you draw the line, bro, between abuse and discipline? Like, right. as men, like you're a dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, where would you draw that line?
Honestly, first off, I wouldn't film anything because who has that time? If you're gonna redirect your child, you doing it from the heart and to be sincere about it. Mm-hmm. You're not doing it, oh shit, let me set up my camera so the world can see this because this is how it's done. Nah. You discipline them or you talk to them, give them a chance to maybe mess up again or whatnot. Then you discipline them and then you reiterate on that fact because you have to take that moment as a teaching moment. Right. I feel like that video didn't teach that girl nothing but that same defined behavior that she showcased. But on top of that, now it's a trauma attached to it. Mm-hmm. So now imagine her going to school and now a teacher trying to get her attention and things like that. Now she's going to be defined to them because that's what she showed in front of her own parents. So it might be a trigger. And then the moment that they make threats, oh, well, I'm going to call home. What if she goes off now because she know the place that it takes her?
You know what instantly popped in my head when you talking about just this, home versus teacher thing and just the whole thing about the mental and the physical abuse. Mm-hmm. I think about, we in the times of COVID. Yeah. And I think about the kids that's at home with these abusive parents.
Hey man, it's off the charts right now, bro. It's off the charts right now. With CPS cases, it's off the charts, bro.
And so the thing is, like, first and foremost, like let's like we already talked about with the mental health and its physical abuse. All of these things are a part of trauma. Mm-hmm. But I want to kind of take it a different step further and give it a different perspective because we all are what the world or society would deem to be minority children. We come from Black and Hispanic backgrounds. Mm-hmm. With that being said, we had a way of being disciplined or a way of being punished when we did something. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we got was whoopings. We got, and not just no regular whoopings. You talking about belts, you talking about switches, you talking about extension cords,
whatever they could
you
get
talking
their hands
about
on.
Anything that they could have got their hands on, they utilized. Yeah. They might have told you lay down. They might have said stop crying. I'm gonna give you something to cry about.
Had your back
there's been many times we doubled and tripled up our clothes to get out of this whooping. But and the thing is, we normalized it growing up that this was okay. And on top of that, our parents normalized it to the point where they're like, hey, I'm doing this out of love. I do this because I love you. If I didn't do this, then that shows that
this hurt me more than this hurting you.
This gonna hurt me more than this gonna hurt you. So the thing is, you're normalizing trauma. The parent is normalizing trauma because you know what? Just like you said, bro. Just like we talked about before this, they got it from their parents or they got it from somewhere, and they're not loved. You have grown people, grown parents out here who act as if they are still in that little boy or little girl state. They are still the child in them is screaming for attention, and you so many people that don't see this happening, and it truly is happening. This is not normal. I want to let everybody know on Say No More on the green light right here. That is not normal. We cannot normalize abuse. Whoopings is there's a whole different world out there. There's a whole different alternative, and we have to understand how to differentiate between abuse and discipline. Now, with that being said, let's discuss like what the hell is the both of them.
So right now, I will say, bro, you kind of just run something in my head. We live in a hypersensitive society. Mm-hmm. When words are taking as I think words are taking now as if it were a beating. You know what I'm saying?
Like, we didn't label it as a beating at that time.
Nah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, back then, it was, you brought up, it was the physical abuse. Yep. And then we knew the fine line between physical abuse and mental. But now, it's like, people use the mental abuse. It's like, oh, you hurt me physically. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
we, Chonso, like you can even, say this too, bro. Like working with them kids, man. Like there's certain stuff that you're not allowed to say, or you have to handle kids a certain way
Right.
because of how it, this how society is now. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
certain things that are said to kids a certain way, like, oh no, you can traumatize them. Oh no, you're hurting their feelings. We can't do this as a teacher or as an educator. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cam, I'm sure you in your job field, you experience that too, bro.
Yeah.
You have to tread a certain way to not hurt people's feelings.
I feel like it's all about the delivery of the message that you're putting out
It
as
is.
well.
It is.
You know, I'm not against, a little pop on the, on the bottom and things
Yeah.
like that.
It's
But
a
see,
correction.
that's also another thin line. We talking about mental and physical, but you got to know what a whooping is and what a beating is. You know, it got its differences. I feel like as long as it had a teaching to it, and it wasn't just because sit down, you're doing too much, or because I said so, now I'm just gonna whoop you so you can stop doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I feel like if it's a teaching moment behind it that led to that, because it's like you got to kind of show them, I guess, a little bit what pain feel like to where they ain't gonna want to keep on touching that stove
Yeah.
while it's hot.
You learn through experience.
Exactly, you learn through it. So I'm not gonna say keep on beating them. Oh well, it didn't work this time. I'm gonna beat them a little harder. Nah, because now you gotta start coming up with different approaches to the situations. I'm a firm believer that communication is key.
Yeah.
If you could communicate with your child and give them a teaching moment, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to throw nobody up under the bus, but even like whenever I was growing up, it was a lot of shut up because I said so. You asked a question, that was a
Why?
whooping right there.
Because I said so. Yeah.
Exactly. See, but I'm 26 years old now. But at the time, and now even to this day, I still had that battle. Like, dang, like, why? Like, why was
couldn't even
asking
ask a
why
question.
such a bad, thing growing up?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like that part needs to change. Like I said, I feel like that's just all communication.
Yeah.
So having been what we went through with our parents, obviously that's a whole different generation, a whole different type of upbringing. And then now that we're millennials, you know what I'm saying, you being a parent, how do you think that millennial discipline should kind of look for the type of kids we have in our society now and the type of kids that our kids is going to be growing up in?
But it's because the thing is, well, go ahead. I mean, if you want to touch on it, because I got a lot to say.
That just kind of go back to what I said before.
Yeah.
I feel like if the message is pure and if it's there for you to teach it, then teach it. Like it might come off as aggressive. And I got a little boy, so it might be sometimes I might just have to snatch him up just to simply show him, life ain't gonna play with you. Them cops ain't gonna play with you. It's certain things you can't do, and it's also more things that I got to teach a young black male too.
Yeah.
So
How
I
to
got
go
to
about things.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, it's kind of like, dang, I don't want to just use I got whoopings growing up, so I'm gonna do that to him. Nah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
you want to have a balance?
And
It got to be a balance. I
this
feel
is
like it
kinda-
has to be.
This is kind of like a conversation that me and Ro had the other day, and we actually had this conversation within the group chat as well when we was talking about kids that are from the suburbs who act hard or they're from a background that they're not actually from, and that's just a whole perception thing. And I was talking about when I started having my little ones and having my family, and we was talking about they would, and I had a fear. I was like, man, I don't want my kids to be going to this school and acting like they hard or anything like that because they grew up this way. And, they grew up in a very nice environment. And and Ro even reiterated, he was like, this is all based on how you raise that child. This is all based on how you teach this child. You raise them, train the child up in the way they should go. That's biblical.
Not part.
So with that being said, there is so many different ways that you could present discipline and love to a child. I think with our generation and has it messed up is millennials and the generation before the millennials, we have made children our friends. And that's the problem. You try to put them in a grown up position. Your child is 4 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They supposed to be kids. Don't expose them to grown life. Don't expose them. And I'm not telling people how to raise their kids, but I'm telling you, the kids that I have worked with in the mental health population for the last 5 years, that has been the thing. You have exposed them to grown up things. You have had grown conversations in front of them, and you expected them not to hear. Kids are always listening. Kids will always remember what you said. I can tell you exactly what happened with my parents with their divorce when I was 4 years old. I still remember that, and guess what? That's still trauma to me.
Everything is also easy to access as well too, though.
Yeah, it is.
Bro,
like literally,
but you have to be mindful.
You have to.
Be on top of that.
Exactly. You have to. You have to. But that's one thing I can say. Like Ro mentioned about social media being like the thing.
It's
in front of you.
It was
bro.
a point in time, dog.
Social
Whenever we
media
was growing up, social
didn't
media
have
was
nothing.
Facebook. You had to go on the
Somebody's
computer.
your uncle computer.
You wasn't logging on to Facebook from your phone at one point in time.
bro.
Now,
Bro,
MySpace,
YouTube-
but then it went to Facebook.
Bro,
Yeah.
YouTube did not come out to like 07. Y'all know that?
Bro,
It didn't
yeah,
come out to
it's
07.
young.
Bro, we was in the 7th grade.
And you used to have to be on the computer in order to watch YouTube.
Yes, but you
know,
couldn't watch
like,
that shit on your phone.
Yeah, now it's like everything is accessible. Like you called us like millennial babies or whatnot. But you know, like we talking about a wide range of things, and it's like as far as parenting, I feel like it's what you put into it, bro. I feel like us, we can't be like, well, this how my mama did me, this how I'm gonna do my children. I feel like we lived more than enough life to see how that affected us, whether it's good or bad. And you know, and I feel like that's how you gotta apply, and that's what I'm gonna do with my son. Like, yeah, it's gonna always be teaching moments. I'll never just physically harm him, you know.
So do you think we have to treat like as a parent, you know, and as future parents, like, do you think we have to treat the male and the woman, the kids that we bringing up like differently when it comes down to discipline? You know what I'm saying? Because like
it's subjective.
Because
very
what
subjective.
you said earlier, bro, like we got kids raising kids.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Most of these parents, they young.
A lot of people don't grow up once they have kids.
Bro,
a
no,
lot of people don't.
No,
They don't
like,
understand the impact that
You have to wake up.
you know what I'm saying? Right now, it's a transparent moment, bro. Like, you know, at the school I'm working with right now, like one of my 8th graders, he's 13. I said, bro, how old are your parents? He said, my parents are 27.
Wow.
My parents are 27.
Wait, run that back. How old was
Yeah,
the boy?
He's 13.
He's 13. His
He was
parents
14.
are 27.
Oh man, that's like a little
His
bro.
parents are 27, bro. That means she got pregnant when she was a freshman in high school.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So like imagine that's like us. You know what I'm saying? Like imagine us raising kids that's 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? How you know what I'm saying? We don't know the mental process that led up to that, and you know we don't even know how old the cat was in the video. You know what I'm saying? He might look older, but he might be around our age. So like, yeah, we got kids raising kids, and I know you know that, bro. You know, all them young parents coming up to the school.
For sure.
Like, you know, I think that's another thing too, the mental development. I think we have to be mentally developed as future parents and as a parent in order for us to fully understand how we're supposed to discipline somebody. You know what I'm saying? What each thing does. What will the words do to that person? What will the slap on the wrist and the slap on the butt do for them? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that plays a big role.
You got like I said, like we got to go back into paying attention to these kids, and then I think another important factor into what you're saying is parents. I mean, it single parent households versus having both of your parents in the house is a huge difference, and it's significant. Like, bro, cause like we grew up in single parent households, and you can. And I said this before we even got on air, and we talked about this sitting at the table, like. You got to realize between us getting disciplined and growing up in single parent households, we are a blessing to turn out the way we are and cognitively function the way we are in the sanity that we are in, and to a point where we are having conversations where we're young millennial adults, but we are cognitive and we have old souls. But you got to look at it, and I said this before. You have to look at your siblings. Look at how your siblings turned out versus you. You had like y'all all grew up in the same household, same opportunities, but something had went differently during those transitions of what you call discipline or abuse, and it has affected each and every single person in that household. And it goes back into, do you have both parents in your life? And are both of those parents doing a team effort? It is a team effort, and we
Yeah.
cannot allow these kids to keep growing up in these broken environments, broken homes. You got kids that are dating kids that are both broken. They don't know their self-worth, and it's a broken situation. It's brokenness on top of brokenness, off of worthlessness, and then you grow up with all of these things, and people start to deem them, or they start to diagnose these kids talking about, oh, well, they got ADHD, they got all of these things. No, these kids are just expressive. Your 5-year-old, like Cat Williams said, your 5-year-old supposed to like candy. It's okay. They supposed to like toys. They see stuff, they get excited. Stop treating them as if they're adults. Like,
Right.
I literally watched somebody the other day. It was a 5-year-old crying. They were like, cry baby, cry baby. What do you expect a 5-year-old to do? Cry. Be a baby. Be a child. Treat them as such. You treat them in the way that they should go, and train that child in the way that they should go. And one of the way that they should go is seeing a healthy example. A healthy example of two parents. And like I said, I'm not saying how to raise your kids, but I'm telling you what I have experienced versus, what I have seen within the kids in the mental health population. Most of these kids grow up in single parent households and be cussing out, and when they get into relationships, they don't last long. They don't understand longevity. And I'm telling you right now, it took me my wife, in order for me as one of those children who grew up in a single parent household, was going through whoopings and all that. It took me meeting my wife to understand what longevity in a healthy relationship was like. For me, growing up in my household, I watched my mom, and I had to and once I got to college, I realized this, but I watched my mom be traumatized by the little girl in her that was acting like that. Mm-hmm. And so it was a lot of things that she went through in her childhood, with growing up with two parents that were not together or ever married. And she watched her daddy grow up in a whole different city, and her mama right here, and all of her siblings have different daddies. Because, back in the day, it was like that. Yeah. So, with that being said, she's watching all of this. So, I was growing up angry at my mother. But I had to realize once I got to college I'm not angry at my mother. I'm angry at her past. I'm angry at her hurt. I'm angry at her pain. I'm not angry with her. I'm angry with how she was dealt with and never has dealt with it as an adult. And that little girl in her is telling her to braid up this switch or lay down, and I'm going to give you something to cry about, because they trying to beat the trauma out of them, but it's not working, and it's a repetitive cycle that leads to where we are right about now.
So with your mom experiencing that, and then her bringing that experience to you, like now that you married, and then further on down the line you gonna have kids, how do you feel like you coping with that to make sure that doesn't happen with your future kids?
So for my future kids, for first and foremost, like I said, when I observe this parent or this person going in on this 5-year-old child, I'm like, man, like, a child is supposed to act like a child. You're supposed to treat that kid. Stop letting them feel like they gotta be a man or a woman at a certain age. Like, yeah, they're getting older, but still treat them as a child, because they have to stay in a child's place, because they will end up traumatized. And so with me, when I have children, my first thing is to love them unconditionally. Let them know how much they are valuable. Let them know how much they are loved. Let them know that I'll give them open space to talk to me about anything. And there's certain, when you put on the dad hat for discipline, and you put on the dad hat for everything else, but there's a slight bit, you do have to be somewhat of a friend, not their friend, like in a full-on we homies, let's kick it type, but more so of I'm your friend to where you
boundaries.
Yeah, it's a boundary within that, to where you can have a conversation with them. Like when they get to be a teenager, if I have my daughter, first and foremost, I want her to talk to me about boys. I don't want her to feel like daddy, I'm talking to this boy. This boy is being very flirtatious, and he's talking about sex. At 16 years old, I want my child to be comfortable with me to tell me about those things, because I'm not oblivious of be like, let me go get my gun. These niggas is tripping. No, because that's what teenagers do. You gotta realize.
You want her to be comfortable with you.
Exactly.
I want her to be comfortable with me and able to talk about that. I was 13 having sex, and I'm being honest with you. I was 13 having sex. That's when I lost my virginity. I was active. I was smoking weed by 12. So with that being said, I am going to treat my children and let them know. I'm not going to tell them, don't do what daddy didn't do. I'm going to treat them in a way of teaching them and raising them and loving them, so they don't have to resort to those things. I was doing that because I was curious, and ain't nobody was monitoring me. You could blame it on my mama. I don't blame it on my mama, but if you want to, Do what you gotta do. That's your opinion. But I didn't blame it on my mama. I just said I had a mind of my own.
To figure it out, so you went
I
out
was
to the
just trying to
streets for
figure
answers.
things out. My father was on the east side. I was on the west side of the.
You looking for
You know what I'm
guidance.
saying? So I'm looking for guidance in those type of ways.
You looking
So,
for closure, you looking for love, you looking for
all
acceptance.
types of stuff.
It's a lot of things that, you know what I'm saying,
all
that the
types
kids
of
go
stuff.
out into the streets and try to go look for. It's the wrong answer, you know what I'm saying? You gonna get the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
But you know, you learn a few things. I feel like we all done kind of came from that background of where you could learn.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you actually
Anything.
get out there, yeah, you could. Hey man, if you want answers to anything, you could literally find out.
Yeah.
So
And just like you talked about earlier, bro, the access to what they have on social media.
it's
Like,
ridiculous now,
It's like,
bro.
hey, bro, they did this. So, like, I know how to do this now because I watched it. And, hey, you know what I'm saying? Let's experiment with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the abuse. What if somebody's watching and like, oh, bro, you know what I'm saying? My mama be doing us like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
obviously, you know, this must be
It's a
normal. This
trigger.
must be cool. Like, shoot, you know what I'm saying? Like, and some people may actually laugh at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times we laugh at people's pain, not understanding what it is.
believe it or not, in the comments, it was a lot of people saying that that's not abuse. That's
Because a lot of people see it that way, bro.
A lot
Real
of people
talk.
were saying that it wasn't abuse. It's
Yeah.
just kind of, I mean, I feel like everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah.
Like I said before, like I feel like the first strike was just recording the whole thing.
Bro, first and foremost, yeah. And then one thing I was saying is, as human beings, we're naturally accustomed, or
Bro,
we naturally,
listen.
you know what I'm saying?
Gravitate.
We
towards
gravitate towards social structure. We gravitate towards
the bad stuff on social media.
No, social groups in general.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you got to think about it. If it starts with your family. Your family is the very first social group that you identify.
Am I the
with.
strong
And-
parent? Am I the
Right.
the cool cousin? Am I the tough cousin? Like everybody respect me.
Man,
Like everybody trying to
look.
have a title.
That's the thing. Like I'm telling you, and this is to go back with social groups and what I'm gonna do with my kids. When I have kids and they are, you know, I'm gonna teach my siblings to be friends, to love one another, to look out for one another. Because me and my brothers, we looked out for one another, but we wasn't friends growing up. It wasn't until we got adults that we became friends. Because I look at other siblings, or even like me and my brothers, when we see some lovey-dovey stuff, bro, we cringe. Like I can't even watch happy ending movies because I get so cringy. Like, bro, this is
Like, bro,
The
that's
motherfucker,
weird.
the butterflies,
Like,
be like,
get
man,
that
get the fuck off me, dog.
like it's so soft to me. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, come on.
Yeah,
but
I
like
feel you.
that's the trauma in me saying that. But we are associated to social groups, and that's like I said, the family is the first thing to do. But if the family is neglecting you, then what do we resort to? We resort to the streets. The block becomes our parents, and we are raised by the neighborhood. We either join gangs, social groups. Even think about it now. We all went to college. We all play as alpha. With that being said, we as human beings are associated to a group and want to feel
that
a
we
family
associate with.
associate with. And so with that being said, the first associated group that you want to identify with is your family.
And that comes
so
with everything.
create that.
Athletics,
Yeah.
all of that. Like
Yeah.
everybody grows up wanting to be a part of something.
About
something
part
to
of
look up to.
something.
Hey, bro, that's a huge topic in education. I don't even know if you knew that. Like social groups, like so. Again, so I'm gonna go into a little bit more into depth on what you just said. So
Yeah.
like the people that we hung out with in middle school and high school. You know what I'm saying? Just a quick flashback. I know y'all can think of why y'all hung out with the people y'all hung out. You had the cats who hung out because they had the freshest clothes and shoes. You know what I'm saying? They peoples can afford that.
Yeah,
so if
the
you didn't
athletes.
if you wasn't fly, like you couldn't be with them, bro. You could talk to them,
You couldn't
but
sit
you
with
couldn't
us,
hang
bro.
with them.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
for
Then you
real.
had the athletes, and like, hey, bro, you my boy. Like, you know, it was before school, like them little groups that people used to go to.
Uh-huh.
You know, you got the athletes, you got the fly dudes, and then
Got
you
the
had
band.
the band.
Library club.
Yeah, bro. Like, and then even as college, we realized that like. We was cool with a lot of people, but who we hung with is like who we associated ourselves with the most
That's what you
because we
did.
related to them.
Right.
It could have been for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? Like I know people who hung out all the time because they smoked all the time. You know what I'm saying? They had
Yeah,
stuff
for
they
real.
related to with each other. So, I think we could even take it as far as this topic. Like, if you got certain parents, you know what I'm saying, who think the same, obviously you're gonna gravitate towards each other. Like, oh yeah, he cutting up. You already know what to do. Look, we here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But I mean, like we said, there is a certain type of discipline that it does. I'm not gonna say
That is necessary?
It's necessary.
Of course.
Like you know, like you said, Charles. So like a pop. Like if you know, like no, hey, no, don't do that.
It might
like, no.
listen.
You'll know how far to take
exactly.
Yeah, you'll know.
You know as a person, just like we all seen Baby Boy, right?
it. Yeah.
Jody got jumped at the corner store. Jody went over to P them house. P them was go confront them.
Yeah.
But he lined them all up, hard checked them, did all that. But Jody realized when enough was enough.
Yeah.
You feel me?
He was telling him to chill.
He was like, bro, chill. Like his whole mood changed whenever he whooped little homie with the belt. You know what I'm saying?
Had 'em all lined
It was
up.
funny. He literally was laughing and stopped laughing. So it's kind of like that type of thing. Like, you know, like, all right, bro, this is overbearing. Like, I don't see how you can get into that zone. Like, this not a street fight, bro. Like, cause I know how I can get, but I feel like you could never get that much anger and hate because whenever, just be honest, whenever I fight, I'm gonna fight with hate. So anything I strike you with, I'm trying to put you down.
Right.
I don't feel like you're supposed to take that same approach with your child, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like if you see them crying, you shouldn't keep on wanting to go on like that.
And that's another thing within itself, bro. What you saying? Go ahead, bro.
You said it, bro. Some people only know one way to certain things.
Yeah.
Like if all you know is like go all out, you know what I'm saying, beat them to their cry so they can get the message. That's what you're gonna expose to your kids, and your kids gonna expose to their kids. You know what I'm saying? Like what you know is what you put out. Now I'm not faulting dude for what he did know or didn't know, but from what I seen, that's probably all he knew. I'm not giving this dude a green card on any
It probably
way.
made sense to him.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Obviously looking from the other lens, like you said, there was people in there agreeing with him. You know what I'm saying? That's probably all they know too. And like you were saying, bro, like it's just you trying to normalize defining that line between discipline and abuse. Like, you know what I'm saying? We have to work towards that. You know what I'm saying? Like we understand now in the position that we are, thankfully, that we're learning from people who are older than us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It may be people in our lives who got kids, you know what I'm saying, that are married and you know, their kids actually older. Like we learning from them. And so we're not just going into this whole parenthood thing blind, bro. We have guidance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You need examples for that. You do.
And it takes maturity. And I always tell people, man, maturity doesn't come with age.
Yeah.
It
comes with experience.
It comes with experience. It comes with education.
Yeah.
I can, like, bro, there's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can know, as a 25-year-old man, I can know just as much as a 45-year-old man based on what I have experienced or even took the time out to cognitively.
Your willingness to learn, bro.
The willingness to learn. Like for instance, bro, I be spitting scripture or I be spitting like biblical history or just anything in general to my pops. My pops is about to be 58 this year. And I be telling him stuff and he be like, wow. And like I know he's just amazed that I'm educated like that, but he ain't thinking that way, or he's not thinking to that capacity. And that's no shot at my pops. Love him dearly, but there's times that grown men, do not cognitively think in the capacity that we hold them to or assume that they should think in. And so it's a lot of and these women, I'm not gonna bash these women because it's not their fault, bro. It's not their fault. It's how they were raised. And there's so many women I'm watching, and I don't mean to get into this because we want to get back to the children and this whole topic, but there are so many women who was raised so basic and to a point where they are relying on this man to come and rescue them and come to take care of them. And this man got to be making this type of money because, honey, I can't do no broke man. And I understand that, you know, you don't want to be with no scrub. I totally understand that. But when you become self-reliant and hoping that a man becomes your meal ticket, where's your priorities? Why can't you make a way for yourself and rise above these stigmas, rise above these stereotypes? So it's a whole lot of things we could talk about. This is like a topic inside of topic.
Yeah, we can't get off topic because we can honestly go both ways there too. Just like you spoke on women, we can speak on us as men too.
That's why I said we can go on men too.
And I'll speak on this, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying, since we are seeing this from the men perspective, like I will say that like, you know, as future fathers and as a father, like, you know what I'm saying, we definitely want to allow ourselves to be taught things that we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who despises wisdom is considered a fool. That's Bible right there.
Hey, and y'all know what I learned, bro? Just from my few months of being a father to a newborn.
What's that?
You learn from your child, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's teaching. Like, so as well as you putting it to him,
they're gonna expose you about things you ain't even know about yourself.
Dog, I'm telling you, it's things that being an athlete, the streets, college, high school, everything, all that pledging. It's certain things that didn't teach me that my son, who can't even speak, has already taught me.
Taught you so much, made you look at the world in
Right.
a whole different way.
Right.
Yeah. And that goes into another thing that I was thinking about with when it comes to raising a child, because this is on topic still. I think about men, in the aspect of growing up without a father. Sometimes there's a lot of men that grow up not becoming men or don't act as a man because they didn't have a father in their life. And if they did have a father in life that did not act as a man because he didn't have his father in his life. So it can be so many different ways with that. And showing him the wrong way of being a man and being aggressive and how you're supposed to do all these things.
And then you got a lot of women trying to raise men as well.
And that's
And
what
you
I'm
can.
going to. That's what I'm going to get to.
No.
Yeah.
They can, but it's only,
there's certain things that they will
it's
not
a
be
certain
able to
They
show
can't
us.
teach you how to be a man. They can raise.
and that's where it kind of gets scary because
Yeah.
you know how we talked about going to the streets for certain things and guidance. You might, certain things like.
It's the first male figure that you see that you feel like
it can
is
easily
appropriate.
confuse. It can easily confuse the image of a man.
Hey, bro,
as
he
well,
got it.
you
You
know?
know what I'm saying? I'm gonna learn from him.
Absolutely. Like, and of course, we watched the guy on the block. They got all the women. They got the
Money,
nice car,
jewelry.
they got the money. And that's what we associate as man. This is what we trying to
That's
get
what
to.
success.
Oh
look
yeah,
like.
everybody's scared of him.
Yeah, he got respect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
he
that's
got-
what
he
it
got that
is. And I
thing in
feel
the
like
trunk. You know what
I
I'm
feel
saying?
like the
Like-
thing that the streets don't teach and that a lot of people don't really teach is love, bro.
No, absolutely.
I
They
feel
don't.
like-
'Cause the
But
streets
but
don't
as
love you.
as men, like, and you know what I'm saying, my pops left my life when I was 7. I
Yeah.
didn't build a relationship with him until I
ain't
was
seen my pops
21.
in 7th grade.
You know what I'm saying? Like from at the age 7 to the age of 21, my pops wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a grown man by the time I'm really building a relationship with you. So what I felt like from what I was taught by the men that was in my life, that's what I knew what was right. But now, coming to him, seeing how he worked with his, his stepkid, well, his kids, but my stepbrothers and sisters, it's like my pops got a thing. It's just like, hey, like whatever I say, go. Like there's no gray area with me. You know what I'm saying? It's
you
black
your
or
own
white.
man now.
Yeah,
You your
but
own man
you know what I'm
now.
saying? As I'm seeing him discipline his kids, it's like that's how his pops taught him. It's like, hey man, tough love is love for me. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as soft love. That's
no.
with him.
Most definitely, that's the thing. I feel like we shouldn't split love, bro. Like you could show tough love, you could be soft. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on your approach or what it is.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer. I'm gonna show my son just how to be well rounded. Period. I'm gonna show him the little things that still matter to this day, like yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, being respectful. That's another thing.
Yeah.
That a lot of people not implementing to their children these days either. So it's like, it's like it's that thin line. You know when to be the big homie to your son, and you know when to be all right. Let me be father. Let me, you gotta show it to him.
I went to a men's retreat with my homeboy's church, and when I was a sophomore, bro, and me and him were 19 at the time, and everybody else in there was a pastor. They were married. Like we just learning from them. And one thing that they said was like, "What is a man?" You know what I'm saying? So like we just kind of waiting to see what they saying. And so one of them said that a man is somebody who understands when it's time to be like there's a balance between understanding how to be, bring out your emotion, but also when to be firm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like learning how to go back and forth. You can't be a certain way being a man. Like you have to learn how to express yourself.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to be firm sometimes. Like you have to be able to wear different hats. You know what I'm saying? Because now that you got a kid, bro, you told us like he's teaching you stuff that you didn't even know about yourself. So as he gets older, it's like, okay, I have to know how to cope with this. What hat do I wear right now? Am I the coach? Am I the teacher? Am I the student? Like, is he teaching me something right now?
Hey, bro. And just to even kind of go into it, I could tell you exactly what he teaching me, bro.
Okay.
He teaching me how to be in tune with my emotions, bro. Like, that's what it is. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of them kids that you talking about. Like, I've always, kind of been very emotional, but it could have been a bad thing. Like, I could get mad like that.
Like, take it out on everybody.
I used to have a real bad temper, you know what I'm saying? But even with my son now, it's like, dog, like, fatherhood, bro. He tests my gangsta all the time, bro. Like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. What you throwing a fit for?
Yeah.
But it's like, you got to be understanding. It's communication. He's saying, Daddy, this is the only way I communicate to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm crying, but, bro, my head probably hurt or my foot probably itching or something like that. Like, it ain't always a bottle or a diaper change. So it's like, dang, you got to kind of dig deep and kind of reflect like, dang, like, okay. And then, before you have a baby, like, I'm going to be tough on him. I'm going to this and that. Then you hold your baby and it's like, dang, bro.
So it's a whole different shift.
Can I
It
do that
is,
to
bro,
you?
and it's like, you gonna still show that tough love. You gonna do all that, but you gotta show them that being an affectionate father is bro.
It's important.
It's detrimental, bro. Like, bro, we
Yeah.
need that, bro, and that's the
Yeah,
thing,
facts.
bro. I feel like a lot of us didn't have that growing up, and that's what most men go sit there and apply. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like,
So let me ask you, bro. So now, as a new dad, like the things that you know what I'm saying, that you're experiencing, and there may be things that you don't know. Do you ask people with kids, like, for like, you know, advice on stuff you don't fully understand, or is it just kind of like a learning thing for you?
it's
Like,
kind of, bro. It's both, because what I also learned, you can't take everybody's
You can't.
advice,
You can't.
because what works for them and their child might not work for you and yours.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, okay, bet it's a trial and error type of thing. Like, all right, bet.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna approach them like this. I'm gonna approach them like
Do you
that.
feel like that's something that could have happened within the video that we talking about?
I mean, it could have easily went back to that, bro. And like I said, we saying that we feel like he was excessive. To him, he might not. He might have a valid argument, but at the end of the day, it's out of his hands
way.
now. He can't really justify it no more because it's on camera. People
Yeah.
gonna take it how they want to take it and flip it regardless.
It ain't your side, my side, and the truth is
what's
That's
there.
what we see. So
It's
now
what we
you in the
Yeah.
pit and everybody get to just grill and throw whatever, however
Yeah.
we want
Yeah,
to.
their opinion.
absolutely
Exactly.
And one thing I was gonna say earlier, man, talking about how men grow up without their fathers and they act as what a man should be, or they get the false idea of what a man is. But another thing when it comes to a man as well, with growing up with just this a mother figure, or maybe not even a mother figure, you realize that these men, grown men, identify with their woman as a mother, as like them. They look for a woman that can take care of them. You see
Yeah.
a lot of these grown boys out
Yeah.
here because of this, and this ties back into how they raised and how you approach them and how
who raised
all
them.
of these things. So the abuse of a parent can really ultimately go down to a way of this young man meeting a woman and saying, I'm gonna live off of her. I'm gonna live off her kids and her food stamps. You know what I'm saying? Like all types
yeah.
of stuff, bro. Like
I
we
want her to
see
take
that
care of me how
constantly
my
in the
mama
hood.
took care of me.
Yeah, you and just like in Baby Boy, what Melvin said, you want your mama to be
Yeah.
your woman, but that's my, you know what I'm saying. Even though like that's a whole movie,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. That's a
It had a
prime
lot of
example.
messages, yeah.
It had a lot of messages in it, and we have a lot of grown boys out here with wrong guidance. And this young lady right here, regardless of what her situation is, the parenting that she is receiving is
Extreme.
extreme, and I would even go a step to say it's unacceptable.
I don't think she'll ever be able to say,
Yeah.
I learned from this. You know how some of our whoopings, you like, dang, my mama told me up, but
And do you realize this thing is going
I deserve-
viral?
It's mental
That's
too.
viral.
It's mental too, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like when you got people like talking about you on social media, like, hey, bro, I seen it. That's crazy. Like it's one thing to hear about it, and it's another thing to like always have access to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like she might carry this and be like, hey, man, I gotta remain this tough chick for the rest of my life, so people don't think I'm no punk.
Man, look, we can go all night with this. We really could. We can go into a whole topic of hood trauma, but man,
that's a whole different discussion.
that's a whole different discussion, and we're gonna probably get into it. Maybe that'd be the next thing. Who knows? But with that being said, I want to give us a proper layout or closeout of what y'all want to tell the people. What did you get from this message, or what's on your heart right now?
Man, just be willing to learn, man. Like we as millennials, and for those older and younger than us, just be willing to understand what's right and wrong from those who understand what's right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? Be open to gaining wisdom and don't ignore it. Like that's the only thing I can say, man.
Yeah. What you guys are?
Teach to be remembered, bro. You know, teach your lessons. Just like we all got those teachers that we remember, like who stuck up for us, who taught us certain lessons growing up. You know, be that parent to where they remember that, not in that bad way. You know, that's a trauma. You know, that's gonna always be traumatic for her. But like I said, teach out of love, teach out of understanding. You know, do what was done for you, not what was done to you.
Yeah. And you know what? And I'm gonna definitely say that and close
That's
it
good.
out. Bro, that's you right on with that, because me being a married man, I had to learn all of that. I had to learn how to hold someone accountable in the way that they wanted to be held accountable or loved. And that's what you want to do with these kids. You want to have pros and growth session with them and be like, and learn them and how they receive or what they're receptive to. If you approaching them this way and you see them shutting down and still acting out, then clearly your approach is not working. And that's one thing I learned with my wife is like, I was raised hella rough. I was raised, ain't no crying over here. What you crying for? Like, that's not okay. That's soft stuff. That's what women do. I was raised off of all of that. And I brought that into, and even in football, these coaches even traumatized us to the point where we could not share. Like, you had to be competitive. Either you run him over, or you know what I'm saying, or you gonna, you know what I'm saying, like, you really, we was taught all of these things, and we normalized it to a point where it trickles into our real life, and we still apply football techniques and football philosophies and things that we was raised on,
coaches,
and we take all of that and we implement that in our real life, in our adulthood, and then us being parents and all those things. So it took me getting married and my wife growing up with two parents who were very soft, very taciturn with her, very gentle and patient with her. And this young lady, my wife has, to this, bro, this trip me out. She taught me compassion to a certain extent, like, cause a different type of compassion. I was already compassionate and I was already empathetic, but I never was sympathetic, or I don't sympathize with people. I empathize with people, and that was one of the things that she taught me. Like, you got to be soft. Like, if somebody crying, get them a tissue. Like me, I'm like, you just thug it out, and once you cry, you stop crying. You stop crying. Like, bro, like that's just me. But with her, I had to learn that because she has never gotten a whooping. Her daddy has never raised his voice. But me, I grew up talking hella passion, so she may misconstrue my passionate for a loud voice and like you yelling. I'm not yelling. I'm
not used to that.
This is my heart. I'm pouring out my heart to you right now. But that's another thing. So with that being said, I just want y'all to end this on this note of, hey, listen to these kids, have pros and growth sessions with them, and understand what they are and are not receptive to, because that will help you in your long run. Have these talks with these kids. On top of that, I'm a little parched.
Hydrate. My full bottle's gone. 1186, black owned business.
1186, black owned business, straight out of Alabama. You can get this from HEB if you in Texas.
I just water today.
The smoothest water you will have.
Room temperature, cold, however.
11. You can say less, say no more. Hey, we love y'all. Green Light Podcast. We'll be back next week. Comment and